Show, taking your business from seed to sapling to towering giant, with your hosts, best-selling author and business growth experts Noah Fleming and Sean Veltman. This is the only show that gives you proven, pragmatic, and immediately applicable business growth strategies every week in 15 minutes or less. Here's Noah and Sean.
Well, hello, everybody. We are back with another fabulous podcast. This is your host, Noah Fleming, with my co-host, Mr. Sean Veltman. Sean, as always, where are you in the world today? What's going on? Give me the weather.
I am in lovely Calgary, Alberta on this sunny day. It is gorgeous out. Just got back from a great walk with our new puppy. And I'm looking forward to talking about some of the things that annoy us in business today.
So, one of the hilarious things that came up in a conversation a few weeks ago we were having was this really hilarious metaphor. And I can't remember which one of us said it, but it was probably you, I'm guessing. But you said, if I gave you a pair of gloves with only 2 fingers on each hand, you wouldn't chop off your other fingers just so you could fit those 2-finger gloves. But the hilarious thing is we see companies all the time that essentially are trying to fit themselves into a 2-finger pair of gloves. So break that down for our audience. Tell them what I mean there. And then let's talk about this, because I think this is incredibly annoying, but it's something that we absolutely need to address today.
For sure. And for me, I think about this every time I'm at a bank or, on a customer service call and somebody says to me, can you give me your account number? No, I can't. I have a human name. I can give you that. I have all kinds of other identifiable data. No, we need your account number. Or, if I'm talking to customers when I get passed around 3, 4, 5 times, and I've got to give the same identifying information to everybody and tell them what's going on, because they don't share that information between departments. And, as a developer, I always think, guys, we've had this software development thing for a few years now. You'd think you could have a decent system.
I hate, you're right. And I hate the example of that when you call your credit card company or something and you have to punch in your credit card number or you have to punch in your cell phone number
to them.
And then they ask you for it. And you're thinking, well, I just punched that in. So now I just refuse. I say, no, look it up. I say, I just gave it to you. Figure out what you just asked me for. But the reality is, this is a common occurrence in many organizations that they have these ways of doing things that aren't necessarily, that great in regards to the customer experience. They're pretty annoying.
They are, and they always end up starting out with the same phrase, which is, we can't do that because, or our system doesn't let us do that. And, I feel bad when I'm talking to the customer service reps or bank tellers or whoever's on the phone, because I know that, I'm not talking to their CTO there. I'm not talking to their CEO. These guys can't make the change that would make a much better customer experience for everybody. But even when you and I are talking to CEOs and CTOs, we make simple suggestions, right? And I hope that's not a shock to any of our listeners here, is that most of the suggestions we bring in are fairly simple, and the doing of them is extremely powerful. But even with these simple suggestions, we hear things like, we can't do that. Our system doesn't let us do that. Or, oh, no, that's a good idea, and we've been working on something for 3 years to let us do that. And variations, it's insane, because you can't get away with not doing the bare minimum while you wait for 3 or 4 years to get it built into your garbage legacy systems.
So I can think of 2 examples, probably of which I should be sharing neither of them, but I will anyways because they absolutely highlight this. So there was one in particular where they were working on a new tool for 3 years, and exactly to what you just said. For 3 years, they kept having a faulty process or a lack thereof, a decent process. They kept going on doing things the way they were doing them, while in the meantime, this thing was apparently being built that was going to save everything. But when I worked it out in my head, I figured it probably cost them $40 million $40 million to have that 2-year delay. The other one was a client, and again, I probably shouldn't be sharing this, but where I will anyways, where they were able to gain more insights in 2 weeks when we were able to put together a system for them that could do what they said couldn't be done than they had gathered in the past 20 years of business. To me, both of these are shocking, but they're the same things that you and I see day in and day out in organizations everywhere. And so, part of my mission, part of my mandate these days is to smack this across the head, to say, stop the insanity here, right? Why are you trying to fit yourself into this 2-fingered pair of gloves? Why are you wearing this poorly fitted suit when, as you said, software technology exists now, software development exists, there's smart people delivering simple solutions that we can custom fit something, we can build something quote, made to order, made to fit. And I think the whole idea of that in the fashion world is this idea of bespoke made clothing, right? This idea that it's perfectly fit to you. And so I just find, I don't know, I'm getting all fired up here again.
Well, that's okay. I'm with you on this. It's a huge pain point. And, you and I have both been in some very high dollar rooms where we hear, oh, we can't do that simple thing because X, and there's always an excuse, and it hurts. I'm squeezing my bridge of my nose right now in frustration because it's an abdication of responsibility. If the job of senior management is to create better experiences for everybody in their sphere, especially the ones who are responsible for driving revenue and profit, it's an abdication of responsibility to say we can't do that simple thing that we know would help because why? Because it's a big investment up front, because it doesn't immediately fit with the off-the-shelf system you have, because it's not part of the proprietary tool you developed 20 years ago. There's no reason for any of this to stop you.
Or because Mary's friend in accounting, another department, her sister was the developer of this software, and therefore we couldn't upset Mary because that's going to upset Mary's aunt, who's going to be upset because we've now, gotten ourselves away from a tool or a product or a system or a process that isn't working for us. But again, I think you're right. Abdication of responsibility. It's huge. And it's not just in, again, what we're talking about in relation to tools and systems that can help, whether it's a sales team or Salesforce, but just this, in general, the abdication of responsibility. I was with another situation where the guy knew he could save $20,000 a month if they switched over their vehicles to new leases, but he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to upset the mechanic. It's just, some things are a little bit nutso to me.
I'm with you on that, Noah. There's one of my mentors early on said something that I've loved and I've never forgotten. He said, business is easy and people complicate it. And, a lot of the times the work that you and I do around strategy, around tactical work in, growth in general or in a specific area is really just around reminding people this truth that business is simple, it's predictable, it's not that complex. And if you make decisions around what's going to be best for your clients and your customers, you can work everything else out. If you're making a lot of decisions based around keeping everybody internally happy, or because your legal team is really tight and your marketing team is really loose and you need to find weird compromises, that ends up getting really tricky. But it takes focus away from the core question, and I think that's going to be this week's challenge, is what is the simplest thing that you could do to create a better experience for your customers or for your people helping your customers that you haven't done yet because you or somebody else has said, well, we can't do that because our software doesn't. We can't do it because the tool's not there. We can't do it because X. And really look at whether or not X is a valid reason. Because I can tell you from our experience, 9 times out of 10, there's a really simple solution to throw something else on top of it and do that simple thing as its own activity. And you end up getting it done. You end up getting it done quickly. And then you can figure out how to roll it in later.
So I think that's a wonderful challenge. Again, you framed it so nicely in terms of, a customer solution or a customer situation, something in that regards. But I think what you said there is absolutely right. What is something that you've said, I wish we could do that, or we can't do that because of our current tools and our current systems? And candidly ask yourself, why can't you? And if you need some help brainstorming some ideas, or you want to talk about why can't you? Because again, you said 9 times out of 10, it's probably closer to 9.5 times out of 10. We absolutely can do that. So if there are times when you're saying we can't do that, ask yourself why. Certainly reach out to us and let's have a conversation about why. And we're happy to help you do that. But Sean, I think, to me, I would rather wear a nice fitting suit any day of the week than just wear something, sort of schlubby off the shelf. And I'm certainly not cutting off my fingers anytime soon to fit into your 2-fingered gloves.
Yeah, I apologize again for that poor gift.
So everybody, thank you very much for listening today. As always, really powerful insights in 15 minutes or less. We know your time is your most valuable asset. Next to that is certainly taking care of your business growth, and these insights will help you do that. So again, certainly leave us a review on iTunes. And as always, you can reach out to us. You can visit my website, noahfleming.com. You can send an email to either Sean or I, and we'll certainly get back to you. But as always, thanks for listening. Sean, anything else you want to add?
I think that covers it beautifully, so I look forward to the next one.
Well, we'll see you next week, Sean.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to join us each and every week for another great episode of The Evergreen Show with your hosts, Noah Fleming and Sean Veltman. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review, and we'll catch you next time on The Evergreen Show.